And what if you could tap into the mind of a serial entrepreneur that has literally mastered leverage, and now he's like lit it up like gasoline on a fire. He's using AI and other tricky automations that aren't that tricky once he describes it. So I brought back the man, the myth, the legend himself, Roland Frazier. He is a mere legend. I mean, he's been on this show probably 4 or 5 times, something like that. We make it an annual thing. He came on and broke down how he's leveraging his time, his team's time, and the multiple businesses he owns and runs. I mean, these are multiple 7- and 8-figure types of businesses. And he's breaking down the tools, the workflows, the mindsets, and really just how he does it all. And you'll be able to swipe a lot of these things right after this episode. So I urge you to take notes, enjoy. He moves quick, and I guarantee you're going to learn at least a couple things in this one. And before you do, go and check out hustleandflowchart.com/clone. That is actually my AI clone. It's built with Delphi.ai. It's an awesome software. You got to try it. Go to hustleandflowchart.com/clone, and you'll be able to speak with Roland via, this podcast basically, and also the 600 other episodes that have been on this show. So go check it out, hustleandflowchart.com/clone. It's totally free, and enjoy the episode. With smaller budgets, shorter timelines, and sky-high expectations from customers, growth is feeling kind of painful for a lot of business owners right now. But HubSpot's here to help you out. They just announced over 200 major product updates that makes the impossible feel a lot more possible when it comes to growth. They have something called Breeze, which is HubSpot's suite of new AI tools that helps you get through all the busy work and into that more impactful work. They also have something called Breeze Copilot, which is your sidekick to assist with a bunch of different tasks and boost productivity. They also have Breeze Agents to help automate a lot of manual time-consuming work and also add extra expertise throughout your workflows. And then they have Breeze Intelligence, which is this big comprehensive picture of your prospects that shows you who's most likely to become loyal customers. They've also reimagined their marketing and content hubs, so they have a whole bunch of new ways that you can create better content. There's updated features there to generate better leads, and also tons of ways to up-level your marketing and revenue forecasting. So try this out for yourself. Get ready for some growth without the growth pains. Visit HubSpot.com/spotlight to see them all and demo them for yourself. Roland, it's awesome. We're doing our annual thing, it feels like. I think that's why I texted you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just have to stay in better touch in between.
I know. I'm guilty. I think a lot of us are guilty these days, and I can't blame AI and all this fun stuff that's, taking our minds.
You can blame it. It just doesn't, it doesn't stick.
It's going to hate me forever. It'll be trained into the model.
I love it.
But yeah, we will keep in touch more, and we've already been chatting about it. But you are always on the bleeding edge. As everyone knows, you're one of the favorite return guests because you're very actionable, but you're thinking out of the box, super leveraged. And literally, I think of AI and I think of all the cool tech and workflows. I'm like, Roland's probably having a field day over here. And
it's been so great. I mean, it's just helped us across the board to be better at everything we do, more efficient, and in terms of people that we don't have to hire, which I know is an issue with AI. We haven't really fired anybody because of it, but it definitely enables us to afford to offer more and higher quality and higher touch within margins that make sense, that we wouldn't be able to offer that level of service without it. So I personally believe it is a win more than it is a big threat. But there's always threats because there's always evolution. And the worst thing that you can ever do, just look at the Recording Industry Association. It's like, the worst thing you can do is try to fight the technology, because it will absolutely move forward. The world will move forward without you, no matter how much you try to, repress it.
I like that you're bringing that up right from the beginning, because that's the topic right there, the box that I'm constantly thinking of, because you hear a lot of fear. We were talking about Delphi. It's a thing we both use. Dara, the founder, was just on Fox Business, and it's almost 500,000 views on his interview with his clone, and like 31,000 negative comments, people just hating AI, wanting to go back to payphones. I'm like, That ain't going to happen. Technology moves forward with or without you. But there's the human side. And that's where I'm like, okay, let's not forget that side, the connection, and I'm curious of your thoughts, because you just said like threats with evolution, technology speeding up. Like, what are your, I guess, just with that enough, I want to hear your thoughts on just where we're at right now and maybe the next 18 months, what that looks like.
I don't know if I'll answer the question that you're asking. So if I don't, feel free to re-ask. But to me, it is absolutely foolish to fight the progress, because the progress will happen. It's, you had people that were like, automobiles are going to ruin everything. They're fast and there's going to be accidents and all that. And, so we should stick with horses. And, and you had the buggy whip manufacturers that were like, yeah, screw cars, it's like, and they're out of business. And the ice houses that made ice when refrigerators came out, and they were like, that's, technology is terrible. And, it's like, you can stamp your feet and hold your breath till you turn blue, but progress is inevitable. And as long as people are benefiting from it, it's still going to happen. It's always going to have some collateral damage, because by definition, the old will either wither or freeze or significantly slow its growth. But then if you look at books, everybody, when ebooks were coming out, we're like, Amazon's going to put everybody out of business because, books are the thing of the past. It's like, and yet book talk is still, is like one of the biggest trends on TikTok. So now we've got this technology that is advancing the sales of this old, antiquated technology, so it's like, it's gonna find its balance. And but the one thing that we do know is that you always want to look, Gretzky said, go where the puck is going, not where it is. If you are where it is right now, and that's where you stay, then you're very likely to be evolved out of a job by the people who are embracing it. So to me, it's embrace it and say, what's the good about it? And if it's bad, let's get rid of the bad parts. But the bad parts are never, to me, well, it's going to put people out of work. It's like, well, those people need to be retrained, reeducated. That's the job of the government to do for free. I think it's the job of business to do for their existing teams to help them move into the next things. But as human beings, if we want to move forward, you got to do it, So like I said, you and I were talking, I don't remember if it was recording or not, but it's we have not let people go because of it. We have empowered people with the end of the rote, nasty tasks that they had to do before. We RPA that stuff, right? We do robotic process automation. In our tax practice, we, like all of the rote things, like literally, we have people upload their tax documents into a encrypted vault so that we can then look at it and get the information. And then we have to transfer the information from all of that onto the form. Well, humans don't do that anymore. That's all RPA'd, right? And we're taking each of those tasks, but we're not letting people go. We're actually hiring because we're able to process more efficiently and handle more returns.
Yeah.
And
Could scale.
Right. Yeah. The firms that aren't doing that, they're all going to be out of business. Like all the people there. So like if you're fighting that stuff and saying, well, it's just not fair that some firms can compete with AI more efficiently than firms, that don't have it. Yeah. Okay. Firms that have more humans can do that too. Firms that have better marketing can do that. It's just one of the things of business. So I just don't subscribe to that fear mongering of it's going to put people out. It's absolutely going to evolve jobs, but it's going to create new jobs and better overall quality of life for people. So that to me is the thing.
Yeah, it brings everyone up, but you need to be open and willing and be paying attention and, just messing around with all the new tech to see how it applies to your life, because it's across the board.
The thing that's cool is there will always be, like what I've seen in the United States that was true in Europe for much, much, much longer is the rise of the artisan, right? So the handmade things as opposed to the mass, so it's what's the company, Shine, that does the the haul videos, and people do haul videos, and they employ child labor and have all kinds of challenges.
There's a backstory. Yeah.
But it's like, what can we do for the absolute cheapest to get somebody a pile of clothes so they can have new clothes all the time? And then you've got the artisans that nobody knows their name because they're only making 100 things a year, but they're making a good living and they mark it up because it's handmade, and there is a market for both of those things. And so I think that for the people that are embracing AI and technology, there will be that. I'm not sure that somebody's going to be like, I want an artisan accountant that is going to use paper and pen to record all of my transactions into a paper journal. But maybe there will be, but there will be accountants that want to have a leather-bound journal to record stuff in because they like that, right?
On their personal side, that's their free time.
Well,
AI
the cool thing is it seems like that both can actually, like, they're not mutually exclusive. Both of them can actually survive. And if you are a specialized artisan, then you probably can find a way to make a living without evolving,
Absolutely. And if it's maybe media, your brand, that you use it to expand your voice and presence to the right people. Maybe it's a marketing problem, opportunity, your product is probably going to become more valuable that it's handmade now, but get it in front of the right people.
I pay more for musical equipment that was made in 1976 than I do for stuff that's made in 2024, even though the 2024 stuff does so much more than the other stuff. And
I've
then
seen your
there's
guitars.
this whole industry of people that repair those old things, and they can make 7 figures a year buying old junk and fixing it because there's not a lot of them around. So like that, it's just across the board. It feels like there are opportunities if one is open to it. But
but you got to be open to it. And that's what I was going to piggyback off is, what's the stuff you hate doing? Or maybe what's the threat in your own box that you're aware of? Maybe do a little analysis. I know you're big on ICE, like the impact, confidence, and ease. It's like, maybe start brainstorming. Use AI to help brainstorm with what you know. Throw it in that box and then see.
I think if you just do a time study, take a 2-week period and record all the things that you do during that time and say, if I could hire a person or a thing to do those things so I wouldn't have to, what are the things in that time study during that block of time that are not the best use of my time, that I could get a higher return on effort, and that are not in my areas of joy and genius? And if you can identify those things, then you replace those things. And you might replace them by hiring someone, and that might be a person that is where you live. It might be a person that's way less expensive that is offshored, or it may be an automated solution that is either RPA or AI. But if you can do that, then you'll be a happier human because you've found the things that are sucking the soul of joy out of your life and gotten rid of them in one of those things.
I love the basis, or I guess the KPI there is happiness, because think of all the, there's an epidemic of loneliness that's definitely a problem in a lot of aspects of I'm just thinking entrepreneurs. I think of the mental side, the game there. It's hard as hell. Sometimes you're living in a bubble, and this can change that.
So here's a great example of what you said, right? So loneliness is a real challenge, particularly for Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think of virtual companions, right? Is it going to destroy the fabric of society? I mean, it might create a huge change. It might lessen intimacy on a mass scale, but there will still be the ability to connect. There will be backlash and, and people who create movements against that. But does that mean that the people that are terribly introverted, that have no friends and can't get out, or maybe they're housebound or whatever, shouldn't be able to have a virtual companion? Do they have to go out on the internet, which is, by the way, filled with a heck of a lot of hate? I mean, there's good, but there's a lot of hate too, and deal with that and maybe the emotional trauma that creates for them. And while they are, do we stop them from doing that because we are afraid that virtual companions will, destroy the fabric of humanity? Or do we say, you know what? That's a good thing, and everything in moderation, alcohol, maybe in moderation, maybe drugs in moderation. I don't know. It's like whatever your thing is.
Pick your fun. Yeah.
But if you do too much of anything, it can generally be bad. And if you constrain your options, that can potentially be bad too. So, even though, like, if we allow that to continue to go forward, there will be virtual boyfriends and girlfriends, a la Her, the movie, right?
Yeah.
But will that be bad? I don't know, but I know for sure that there will be people that like human one-on-one H-to-H connection that will continue to exist and thrive. And wouldn't the world maybe be better if we had the ability to choose which of those things fit us best, and we didn't tell the rest of the world, you can't do that thing that you want to do? Like, the AI people shouldn't be able to tell the H-to-H people you can't do human to human, and the H-to-H people shouldn't be able to tell the AI people you can't have a virtual companion, right? I mean, that's kind of how I look at it.
It's a beautiful way to look at what you just explained. Is one of my best friends I grew up with actually met his girlfriend through, it wasn't AI, but it was VR avatars.
Yep.
Different locations. But he explained it to me like that. It's like, there's a lot of people that just don't know how to connect with others for whatever reason. There's a whole bunch of it. It could be a gender thing, a race thing, whatever thing, and
or just location. They're in Gila Bend with population 17,
right.
And they, the only people in the dating pool are their cousins and relatives, and they want to meet, they have dreams that are bigger than that. And they, they're passionate about history and want to find out about, London. And so they, they can go online and find that through avatars, through AI, through, or God forbid, they create a digital companion who is all imbued with Delphi-like Britishisms, and
someone's going to do it with Delphi.
Now they've got their British friend to talk to.
That's fine, to each their own, and have fun. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, this technology, the future in general, should look bright if you choose it to be. It's all about our perceptions, and let's be honest, it should lift everybody up. Yeah.
And if you're optimizing for happiness, like for me, so I used to get a list of people every day that were on the fence of investing in a program that we've got that's relatively expensive. It's $30,000, $40,000. And so the other day I had 62 people on that list. And what I used to do is bang out 62 quick, 30-second videos, hey, Joe, this is Roland. I know you were talking to Deanna about coming into the XYZ program. Just wanted to let you know we're excited about having you, and I think it's going to be a really good fit for you, right? And I'd have to do 62 of those. Well, now that goes into a Google Doc. Each salesperson enters the variable information in the Google Doc. The Google Doc is zapped into HeyGen. HeyGen creates a video that's me giving that message with my digital twin using the variable data at scale. The 62 videos that I would have had to create, I no longer have to create. That's cool. And then we can API voices in so that, like in 11 Labs, we record multiple personalities of me. Instead of just reading one time like we used to, the text that turns into the cloned voice, we read it fired up, pissed off, sympathetic, late night DJ voice. And so then the marketers can pick the version of my AI voice tone that they want to put into each thing. Those are things that are just happiness builders for me, because now nobody's waiting on me. I'm no longer a bottleneck. I don't want to do that stuff anyway, but you know what? If I did love it, I could do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so now I have choices.
And see, you've always been that guy where you're in the trenches fast. You get in there, you get your hands dirty. I mean, in our mastermind we were in, you would always share 10 new tools that you were personally playing with. It wasn't your team. You empower them.
I don't like to share it until we've done it,
Yeah. I mean, you were doing what? You were creating a whole AI program with ChatGPT before you even knew what the heck AI was. But how do you learn?
To me, it's always just, this is what we're doing. And if you find that it could be helpful, then we're happy to share and help you. And because I think it's amazing. I'm just absolutely endlessly curious about it.
Well, and that's actually one of your lines, and I know it's true about you too. You spent a lot of time with you. It's like you're infinitely curious. I want to pause this for a moment. Shout out a friend of mine, Sonia Thompson. She's been on this podcast a few months back. She hosts a podcast called Inclusion and Marketing. It's also brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. So her show, Inclusion and Marketing, digs into all the important topics around belonging, diversity, customer experience, and really bringing people and rallying them around your mission. You're literally including more people behind what you think is most important. So it's an awesome topic. She's made a full podcast about it. Listen to Inclusion and Marketing wherever you get your podcasts. Are you tired of the hassle of building sales funnels? I totally get it. I've been there. You started your business not to be chained to your laptop all day. You built it for freedom. And thankfully, there is an all-in-one platform that makes it easier for you so you can focus on attracting customers online. The platform is called Kartra, and it gives you all the tools you need to grow your business. The best part is Kartra comes stocked with all the done-for-you campaigns, so you don't have to worry about thinking about building from scratch. Everything is designed, connected, and written for you already. It also leverages AI to help you with some of this writing. All you gotta do is just customize this to your liking, and then boom, you got a fully built sales funnel for you. This is marketing made easy, so go try it out for free. 30-day free trial over at hustleandflowchart.com/Kartra will get you there. So again, that's hustleandflowchart.com/KARTRA. So in this infinite world that we're literally all in now, you know, you have all the resources. You got like our buddy Matt Wolf with his future tools. Got to give a shout out because like if you're not on there, he's keeping up with all this stuff. Like, how do you decide what to implement, what to mess around with, like with your creativity? How do you rein it in and focus?
Yeah, it's really two things that will drive it. One is, where is the need? Where are the bottlenecks? Because we're big followers of the theory of constraints, right? So it's where within the systems that we've got are the bottlenecks that are stopping us from increasing flow through. And so that's, are we not getting enough leads? Are we not converting enough leads? Or enough, we're not converting enough leads into the right places. The fulfillment, we can't do more people because we're limited by the scale, because fulfillment can't happen. Where are the choke points? Yep. That's the very first place that we're going to look. And then we'll run a prioritization based on, like a sprint to solve the bottleneck. And the way that we'll rank those is using ICE, which you mentioned before. What's the impact? What's our confidence it can happen? And how hard is it? What's the ease? And then the other thing is, what am I just curious about? What do I see or hear that fascinates me that we can, that I maybe want to do an experiment? And so I started an email newsletter called Crazy Experiments, just to share all the different things that we do so people can see. And that's kind of fun. But, we have split test calendars that we keep in our companies, and we have initiatives and sprints, and we have Kanban boards that, have who are the stakeholders and what are they going to do. And so that's all going to get all those ideas that come from what are the constraints, how can we solve it, who's the stakeholder, what's the ICE analysis, what's the priority, and then let's go. How do we chunk it down? What's the schedule of implementation? Put it on the Kanban, and then keep track of it. And then the curious things are the same, right? It's, okay, I'm curious about this Delphi thing. I'm curious about that. How can I build this digital, avatar of myself to answer questions? And then I'll say, where does that fit? Well, the people that I need to help me with that are these 2 team members. Okay, great. Hey, 2 team members, this is something I'm interested in. What's your load look like? Is this something that you're interested in that you might want to pursue? And then that'll determine it. And then I'll either go do it myself if they're not interested or they're too busy, or we'll get it into the overall workflow and we'll do it that way. And so that's really how we go about it. And we're always looking for, identify the choke points and solve for them. So it doesn't have to be AI. AI just happens to be relatively new. And so, it's a place that we look, RPA and AI, we're looking a lot more now than we used to, but we are looking at other solutions too.
That's a good way. Yeah. Don't put blinders on the other processes that you might be doing, or even just simple workflows like you described, and people as a part of it. And so I'm thinking of like choke points. You work with, you see inside of a lot of businesses, not only in the training and people you consult, but actually as an owner, advisor, somehow partner. Are there some common constraints, choke points that you see that could be solved with some simple workflows, AI tools?
It's kind of hard to it's hard to distinguish to me sometimes between RPA and AI.
Yeah,
And
sure.
so all the time, I mean, it's what are the rote processes that are mind numbing and require time from humans that could be automated? That's easy to say because there's a lot of them. You know, what are the things? It's you could just go to somebody and say, "What do you hate most about your job?" You know, well, I just don't like anything about it. Okay, well, let's get more specific. You know, what do you not like? You know, that what's the thing that you're doing all the time that you're like, "Oh my God, I just hate doing that," or you find it to be what I call comfort work. You know, it's like comfort food. You eat it, but it's really not good for you. Comfort work is you do that thing that stops you from going to do the other things, right?
Mindless, time sucking. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's identify those things, and then let's see what can we do to eliminate those through RPA. And then what's left is, okay, what else is it that you need? Well, one of the things would be customer service. So customer service is a choke point because we have people that are creating demand, and then we have salespeople that are turning the demand into sales and customers, and then we have fulfillment, and then you have issues with fulfillment that become customer service. Well, a lot of times people want to have their questions answered immediately. So if I have to wait, like, we used to have we get back to people in 48 hours in some of the businesses or 24 in others. And we would watch that as a KPI, what's the ticket turn time to get an opened ticket from customer support person fulfilled or talked to by somebody in a meaningful way. So you can automate, hey, thanks, we've received your issue and we'll be back with you soon. And that's nice because it tells people that it's in the system, which is better than well, I hope that they got my thing, and you can say, we try to respond within 48 hours or 24 hours, but the customer's got that need right now. So if I could solve that need right now, I can have happier customers, which can cause higher NPS scores, which can increase my referrals, and get me more testimonials, which is more social proof, what the marketers can use to get more people in the door. And so a choke point is, but I don't have the budget to hire as many customer service people to work 3 8-hour shifts so that I can cover 24 hours of time, and demand sometimes peaks and sometimes troughs. So I don't want to have a bunch of people that are just sitting there doing nothing because that's terrible for their lives. And it's also bad for, our bottom line. But if I can AIify that, so I can have 10,000 calls come in 15 minutes and they all get addressed, and 90% of them are routed to the place that they couldn't figure out how to find. They learn how to get their password, which they've lost. They, like all those standard things. Or the AI can query Salesforce and say, this is where we are in the fulfillment process of that thing right now, and deliver that variable data back to them. Now I've solved my customer service issue. So that's a absolute choke point all the time that I see. So it would be marketing creative, the ads that we need to generate at scale to have enough testing of ads. It would be setting sales calls. It would be answering questions for people that have questions that need help, which are not yet customers. It would be the actual sales closing, because the number of salespeople we have, et cetera, et cetera. It would be the customer service for the customers that we've got now, and then any rote, repetitive task that requires human time now that scales and get any of the things that scale up and scale down based on demand are also choke points, because it's that cost benefit analysis of how do I have enough people, but how do I keep them busy, and how do I hire against sales that are about to come because I think they're going to come, but what if they don't? So all of those places are the places that I'd say I see that happening the most, and definitely creative, and then accounting, because accountants are harder and harder to find. There's a kind of an epidemic right now of not being enough accountants because
I didn't know that.
the old baby boomer accountants are retiring out and all the new people are like, that sounds really boring because it's really boring. I can say that as a recovering accountant.
I have a good friend that's an accountant moving up. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and it will also happen with, so like we do tax returns in one of our business, and we just met on this yesterday is why that's fresh in my mind. And we don't want work that's under $650, but we have lead flow that's thousands and thousands of people that would pay $300 that have relatively simple returns. It doesn't make sense for us to put our humans on it because of the cost of those people doing it. So we're in the process of AIifying the lower end rote preparation of those tax returns, serving those customers so that they can get their questions answered, all using AI and RPA, so that we can now help these people get professional help at a rate they can afford based on where they are at, income.
That's cool. Yeah. And see, that democratizes, and that's where how I've seen AI, and I've had some other folks on the show that have been like in AI or RPA for, even 30 years, just doing behind the scenes stuff. And usually what everyone's thinking if they're the builders is they want to bring society up. They want to bring everyone up and give everyone the tools and the ability to have access to great accountants or legal or whoever, marketers. And that's what this is right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's cool. Oh, awesome. Well, keep us in the loop and share that around, because if there is an epidemic of accountants just not around, that needs to be known to a lot of business owners.
They're like, if you check, it's hitting, like I just saw it in the Wall Street Journal. It's on Apple News. I mean, it's a thing that will get worse and worse until somebody solves for it. But it is solvable with AI RPA.
Yeah, it's true. So on that note, because I was going to ask you something about creativity and kind of a workflow, because some people feel like AI stifles creativity, and I have my own process. I think so as well. So, let's just go there. Like, you probably have some ideas, because you're very creative. You got musical, you got business, you got everything else you're doing in life. How do you see AI and creativity in your process?
So a lot of the most creative breakthroughs that I think you have is from looking at things from different angles, and it is from drawing from other disciplines that have similar problems they've solved, or that have an analog to what you want to do, right? So what I like is I have regular conversations with AI. I mean, I already have an AI companion because between Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini, those are kind of my go-tos for conversations about whatever it is I'm working on. And so what's really cool is, like, I have a list of different management systems, let's say. Like, there's the Boston 4-quadrant matrix, and there's the Six Sigma, and there's the McKinsey matrix, and there's all these ways to look at something. So I'll run a problem in and say, analyze this from, and then just paste in my list of 20 different business models and say, tell me what you think. And now I'm having a conversation with an expert in all 20 of those things, which I am not. And but then that can lead me to additional questions. And so to me, it's like a satellite brain. I'm so much more productive and creative now than I was before, because I didn't have that. And that's what really, if you think about it, that's what a think tank is. Yep. That's what a focus group or a like a special committee in a company to do something. We have an insurance product that we're creating in one of our companies, and we're talking about, what should that look like? And so we've got a committee of people so that we have stakeholders from sales, accounting, marketing, fulfillment, management, ops, all talking about, okay, this is an initiative we're going to go after. But we don't know anything really about that because we hadn't done it before, right? Yeah. Now, if we are all brainstorming with kind of a structured AI creativity workflow, we're going to get so much more input that's going to trigger us to think about so many more things that we can then bring back to our collective there that that can be discussed and then processed and tested or, or rejected than we would ever do just getting in there, right? And look at how you would educate yourself before. You might go out and read 50 white papers and, but AI's already done that and will give you the summary, takeaways of you just couldn't do it. So
that's right.
I feel like it's just a giant enhancement because my world is so much bigger now than it was 2 years ago when I really started getting into it as a result of having access to that.
That's it. Yeah. And quickly with the right workflows, mental models that you can layer in over the vast database and your own knowledge. It's kind of like a 3-pronged thing.
Truly.
Yeah, and then boom, you have the whole world. I mean, you're seeing gaps in your knowledge or your understanding, and you get smart like that. I mean, it just put in all the resources of the world for you at your
and even on consults, when I'm doing a consult, so if we're doing a consult virtually or if I'm in person, I have my iPad set up right in front of me and I'm taking notes and throwing stuff into AI to help supplement my brain and my ability to consult, which makes me a better value to the company that I'm working with because I'm a better version of myself in delivering the value that they're looking for.
There it is. I mean, that's so let's end it on that note because I think that's beautiful. That's super actionable. And the fact that this whole thing was making yourself better, optimized with the use of smart tools, workflows, technology. Don't fear it. Embrace. I mean, if you fear it, you're kind of screwed anyway. I mean, that's your choice, But everyone has a way to get in there. Perplexity is one you didn't mention. I'm surprised. Perplexity.
Yeah, there's so Perplexity and Grok. I like both. Grok is really coming along a lot.
Yeah.
But I have I forget what it's called. I think it might be chat.gg.
Yeah. I've seen
that does like 20 different AIs at a time, all the same. So I'll typically throw my query into there and then see what kind of who's got the best. Because I'll tell you, definitely different AI platforms or different chat, platforms with AI are good at different things, right?
Totally.
So like we do lean towards some, but what I really want is I want to get that one prompt to give me all the responses from that program. And then I want to have a summary of those things so that I can get all the different points from that. If I can get that's kind of, I could RPA that, but I'd like for that program to just do it,
There you go. I was that was one of my kind of subtle questions. You just kind of answered it. One little nugget that I've learned recently, I've been using with prompting is let's say you just did a whole thing of research where you're like, I'm going to have to do this again. You can just tell ChatGPT, Claude, or whatever to say, summarize everything we've just done and make that into a prompt. Yeah. And then now save it somewhere. I like to go to Claude, save it as a project. So then you just literally drag your transcript or whatever and boom, done. Seconds.
It's really cool. All those little things are just
it's fun.
Gold.
All right, Roland. I know you're doing a lot in here. Where should we direct people to? You mentioned newsletter. I know you have a 7-day course that's really awesome, actionable.
Yeah, I have a podcast, as well at Business Lunch, which we got to get you back on, and that's a great place where we talk about stuff like this. And then I'm on all the socials /Roland Frazier. That's probably the easiest way to find me. The business acquisitions is epicnetwork.com, which is where our AI stuff lives. So that would be a place to look as well.
Pretty easy to find you. Roland, appreciate your time. And this was not the Roland clone, even though that might be wandering the interwebs. You'll find it. Just go on the hunt. So let's do it again. Let's do it sooner than an annual kind of thing. We'll be chatting more.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.